The more things change for the Buford football team, the more they stay the same. The loss of 25 seniors certainly would invoke rebuilding strategies for most programs, not necessarily so for the Wolves. We asked Coach Jess Simpson how they are handling such big personnel changes heading into the 2015 season.
We lost 25 seniors, and I mean, when you look at the guys we lost, I mean, 14 or 15 of those guys were, scholarship, played some level of college football coming up this fall, and obviously all those guys were mostly starters. I think defensively, we might return 2 or 3 guys. We got 2 guys coming back on our offensive line. We have some tailbacks with some experience, and we really think that position's got some depth. But, everywhere else there's really not a starter. There's some guys that have gotten some quality snaps. But my thing is we're either really young and inexperienced or we're even old and inexperienced, a guy who's waited his turn to play, but he really hasn't, been in the fire as a starter per se and gotten the number of reps and snaps in that competitive situation on Friday night. So, that's the unknown. And the good thing for us is we got a scrimmage with South Gwinnett this week. And we'll get to see real quick. South Gwinnett returns their whole team and their roster and got some really good players. And I think we're going to find out, competitively where we stand. I mean, we'll find out from an operation standpoint if, when it starts going fast and the bullets start flying, how our kids respond and how we communicate, how we recognize and ID what's going on the field and communicating from the sideline to the field. And, we're at ground zero from how to line up to how to make checks and adjustments to how to get personnel on and off the field. And I guess most all teams are, especially ones that are inexperienced. So,
talk about the team from Maryland in your opener. We don't really know much about them. And then you got Berkmar and you got McEachern before you get into region. Talk about that as far as how that's going to help you prepare.
Well, I think as a coach, you spend your off season looking at the big picture. But when you get to this time of year, our focus truly is on this week. This is a game week from us, from our morning meetings and walkthroughs to what we do after school and after practice. A Sunday's a Sunday, a Monday's a Monday. And so basically every day this week, from the snack we have to the pregame meal, everything's really a dress rehearsal for next week. And we're really focused on South Gwinnett in this week. Obviously, when we move forward to Eastern Christian, we're going to know we got a huge challenge.
Is that?
It's a football academy up in Maryland, and just have some really, really talented players. And it's going to be a great challenge for us as we get towards that next week. But honestly, we're really we're locked in right here.
Well, I know, and as fans, we like to do this. So, last year's game with McEachern was, definitely that's going to go down as one of the great games probably of all time around here. Just a fantastic game, fantastic finish. And now you got to go to McEachern. Talk about that. As far as playing big road games and how that prepares a team, I know that's 3 weeks down the road, but that's going to be a big game. And are y'all looking forward to that?
I think kids and coaches, we're all the same. I mean, you look at the schedule and there's games you're excited about and challenges and mountains to climb and things as you approach your season. And certainly with our preseason schedule, you're talking about South Gwinnett or Eastern Christian, Berkmar or McEachern, we feel like this next month prepares us for a stretch of possibly being in the playoffs later in the year. I mean, you're going to see opponents with that kind of size and that kind of skill and those kind of competitive teams. So, that's why every coach wants a really competitive preseason schedule before you get into region play.
I don't know that you guys have had to rebuild in a long time. I mean, we've talked before, reloading is kind of y'all's thing to next man up. But with so much youth this year, is this as close as you've gotten to a rebuilding type of year in your time?
What? I mean, I don't think it's fair as a coach to ever talk about rebuilding. I don't want to talk about it. I'm certain our people don't want to hear about that. And I don't really talk about reloading, but we do talk about next man in. We talk about understanding what the expectations are and where the bar's been set, and it's our job to go get it. As a coach or a player, it's our job to get where we're supposed to be.
You do not alter your goals every year based on it's the same every year.
It is. I don't think, we have all kind of different goals. We have tangible goals and we have intangible goals. I always want kids to have their quiet personal goals and their big team goals. And there's all kind of goals for everybody all the time. But at the end of the day, for us to play championship football at a championship level, it does come back to one-on-one battles, and it goes to us playing well together and us competing as a team and learning how we can help each other and how to play winning football and how offense and defense and kicking game all complement each other. So all those things fit together.
What do you feel is the strength as you get ready for you got your scrimmage coming up, and then in a couple of weeks you got your first game? What do you feel right now is the strength of this team as you've come through, the summer and the first couple of weeks of fall practice?
You know what? Coming through the summer, I don't know that I know the strength of this team because, we've literally had a week in pads. But I know they've done some things well. These kids have worked their tails off this summer in our lifting program and practicing and making everything important. I think our seniors are really growing into some leadership roles. And we always talk about leadership, and becoming a leader is not something that, poof, happens overnight. You kind of get to learn on the run, and we want to allow those kids to learn that and give them room to grow, and then teaching our sophomores and juniors how to follow. There's a role there, and then how do we do this together, and how do we lean on each other? So I'd say the strength is how much we've enjoyed the process so far, and practicing and working together, and just seeing the improvement, and seeing kids being willing to do different things and try new stuff and be unselfish, and we've got a bunch of moving parts that we're still trying to figure out. So
there are a couple of hidden gems in this year's group that you have seen in the first few weeks of practice here that think this kid could be a great player?
Yeah, and it's probably too early for me to say that, but there's always surprises and hopefully not too many disappointments of, when you give a kid a chance to grow up over the course of a year, and maybe even from May to August, it's amazing the strides they can make in your off-season program or in competitive situations with other teams and 7-on-7 during the summer, or just even during your practices. But that's what's neat about football. When the switch finally comes on for some guys and they go, man, hey, I know I can do this now, and you see confidence begin to grow, and then their expectation level of themselves and what they can do, you see that begin to change. That's what's fun about coaching, is seeing young men grow.